I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're going to do one of my favorite projects, and this is the flower and leaf necklaces, and this is using our QuikAluminum. So this is a fun project. One of the reasons that I like working with the QuikAluminum is it dries 5 to 7 minutes, and when we're working with molds, it's thicker and it doesn't wiggle as much and it holds a shape better. So I really like working with the QuikAluminum and the Quick Hopper. And the QuikAluminum is basically the silver. And another thing that we're going to be working with today is the fondant molds, and this is by Wilton, and this one has the birds, the leaves, the flowers in it, and I've been using this quite a bit. I've also done a gourd that I've done with just the leaves and the birds and the limbs, but now we're going to use the flowers. This is also a great mold to have on the side in case you have a little bit extra and you need somewhere to put it. It's got really tiny flowers and different things so that you can put it in there and it'll dry and you didn't waste it. So remember that. So we're going to set that out, and the first thing we're going to do when we work with our quick wood products is remove all of our jewelry. So we're going to take that off. And then the second thing we're going to do is spray everything with vegetable spray, including our hands. And then we're also going to use our molds and spray our molds. And I'm going to use the leaf. I don't know if I want to use the bigger one or the next smaller one. I think I'm going to use this bigger leaf here. Now for the little tiny earrings, I use this flower and this leaf. Now remember, when we're working with Quicksilver, we always want to cut off just the amount that we use. Now I have the vegetable spray on my hands, and I'm wiping my scissors so it doesn't stick to my scissors. And we're removing the tab, and we want to place that back on. So we only want to do enough for our leaf at this time, not our flower. And we're going to put that back on and set that aside for a minute and remove the plastic part. That's real important because that plastic part wants to get stuck in there, and sometimes when you're working you don't see it till you get ready and then you have this plastic part. Also, if it has a crest on the end, just take your scissors and just barely cut that off before you start. That way you don't have anything that feels kind of grainy or anything. So we've got that all nice and going there, and we're just going to come in here and we're going to put that right on into the mold and remove that. And I had taken my wax paper over because I didn't think I needed it, but I do. So I'm going to tear me a small piece of wax paper. We're going to spray there. Just wipe that around. Okay, so now I have my leaf. So before we do anything, we want to add some color to it, and this is with our shimmer powder or our embossing powder, whatever name you know it by. We're just going to come in here and we're just going to color that. Now I'm also going to add, and you could add silver, I'm going to add some gold, and it goes pretty well with the silver even though it's gold. And the reason just to add some highlights to that, just so that's not all one piece. And you notice I always pat it out on the lid first because there's so much that your brush picks up and you don't want to have that much. Alright, now what I am going to do is I'm going to take an eye screw, and we're going to kind of cheat and use that for our jump ring. And we're just going to simply lay it in there and kind of push it in a tad, but you want it up far enough. And I'm going to flip this sheet over so it doesn't curl up on you so you can see around it. because I think it's kind of interfering with our demo here. Okay, there we go. You want to make sure that the eye hook sticks up enough so we can get another jump ring into it. But that way you didn't have to make this piece, and you can make that piece just by simply wrapping it or a piece of wire around and leaving some tail. But that takes that process out, and that's a 216.5 eye screw. I think it's a number 8. So if you want to pick that up at the hardware store, that's fine. Now we're going to come in and we're going to do our little flower, which is going to set directly on top of this. Now remember, we only want to cut a tiny amount. So I think I need just a little bit more than that. You want enough by not too much, and you learn. It doesn't take too long to kind of figure it out. You can always add to it. It's easier to add to it than have some that you can't use because it's going to dry out on you. Might need a little bit more than this. We'll see in a second here. I'm going to place that in our mold. And that's going to be enough. Now you can also cut these pieces out individually, and it makes them easier to deal with. And you can, like if you had your gourd, you could just simply put it onto your gourd and it would start to stick and come out, and it's easier that way. I just take an X-Acto knife and cut it out. I keep mine in one piece because I travel so much and it's harder to keep track of everything. Also on this piece, this is just one that I turned into a flower with, without the leaf, and I put this kind of in, then I put the eye screw on, and then I put a little bit more over the top to hold that into place. So that's how that one was done. Now we're simply just going to pull this guy right out of the mold. Remember I talked about, because this is quick silver, it is easier to do that than it is with the other products because it is thicker and holds in place easier. And now we're just going to set that flower right on top, and we're going to press it down just a little bit to keep that eye hook in place. Now this time, instead of doing the pink, I'm going to do a purple embossing powder or shimmer powder, and I'm going to pounce it on my lid first like we talked about, and then I'm going to come in here and I want to kind of get it on the sides. Try and keep it off your leaf as much as possible. Your leaf won't pick up as much because it's already been coated with the other colors. And bring it down the side a bit as well. But isn't that gorgeous? Look at that purple, how rich that is, and how wonderful. I just love working with this stuff. I just think this is so cool to do. And you can give it a little bit of a gold if you wanted to, but I'm going to come in here with yellow and do the center, and we'll see if we want any gold anywhere else. I'm not sure we do. Now this, I'm going to put a little bit thicker. You could almost put that a little bit here and there if you wanted to. And another thing that you can add to this, you can add beads, little glass beads, or anything that you want to just stick right in there. You can do any of that because that will go right into your clay as well. And it really is that simple. So think of how many of these that you can have done and do. The little earrings, like I talked about, are done exactly the same way. We just changed the size of our flower and the leaf, and then because this one was hanging straight instead of the other direction, we didn't have to add another jump ring in there. We just attached it to our earring hooks, and you just simply open those up and you would put your hook in and just close it up and just make sure that it's nice and tight and you have your earrings. Now on this one, we're going to go to our necklace, and that jump ring is this way, so we need one this way to make it lay flat. And I really liked the ribbon necklaces with these. I think they just made a soft statement with the flowers. So I'm going to put that into jump ring right in there first, and you want to let it finishing dry, and it won't take that much longer, but I'm going to go ahead and show you so we can move forward. And we just simply set it in there, and I should have let it dry. It's okay. I'm going to show you how to close it back up, and then I'm going to stick it back in there. Now I would also recommend varnishing it to keep your embossing powders in place. And once you put this on here, tighten it up. Always make sure that your jump rings are nice and tight. You never want to leave them loose because they will slide right out. So we're going to take this and just pretend that that never happened and stick it right back in there, and it will continue to dry. And like I said, don't rush yours like I did mine. Just leave it in there and let it dry up first. And you can see how that's still moving quite a bit. But isn't that beautiful? I love the purple on that. I think that is so elegant. And I had quite a few people that wanted flowers for Valentine's. You could even change your colors for red, pink, sticking with the Valentine colors. But see how elegant that is? If you have any questions about this process, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com. And for any of the Quick Wood products, including the QuikAluminum, please visit my website at miriamjoy.com. Also, you can get a link there that'll hook you up with all of the other videos that I have out there that shows you all kinds of fun stuff. And on Facebook at Miriam Joy Gourd Creations, I post a new gourd up there daily to inspire you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you had a great time. God bless.